Alright, so a few months back, I really became health conscious and decided to join gym. On my very first day, I went with my brother and he had been going to this gym for about, I think, 4 to 6 months. I come back home and he looks at me and goes, you had more conversations with people than I could ever have in these last 6 months. And that was news to me. Guess why? Because I am an introvert, and believe me or not, it is draining for me to meet people and talk to them, even though it might not look like that. So rather than making this video into a few points that you could follow while I say this is what you should be doing to have meaningful conversations, instead of doing that, I wanted to make it in an analytical manner where I unfold things that I think is the reason why I'm good at these things. So let's get started. Alright, first thing first, I genuinely like people. I am genuinely curious about them. I like it when there are different kinds of people and they're all happy and doing different things. You know, it's just like gazing at the sky when there are a lot of birds. Very wrong analogy, but I guess that works. I genuinely like people. I do. Now, because I genuinely like people, I am genuinely curious about them. And since I am a naturally curious person as well, I seem to have a bit of idea about all the topics that there can be, apart from politics and news. What this does for me is I would have something to talk about literally everything. And since I do have a lot of knowledge, I'd say piles of knowledge that is literally of no use to me, I would find it easier to use that in these conversations. And since I am curious about a lot of things, chances are that I would find something that I'm curious about when I meet someone or see someone. I do not assume negative of people. That is, when I look at someone, I generally do not have thoughts like, okay, this person is wearing this, she might be this kind of person, or this person looks like that, or this person has this kind of body language, so they are unapproachable, or they look a certain way, or they seem certain way. I genuinely believe that there are more good people than there are bad people. And there is something I heard that everyone is a friend until proven otherwise. So I really believe in that. I have been doing that ever since I can remember. So this way, I do not find people unapproachable in most cases. Now, there are things out on the internet like ask for help or help people or compliment them while they might have been working. I have no idea, I haven't tried them. But something that has been working for me and something I have been doing naturally is when I look at someone and I genuinely like something, I would go and tell them. If I look at some lady which is having a style that I admire, I would go up to her and tell her, I really like your style, and then she'll say thank you, and then I'll walk away. I do not worry about embarrassing myself, or I do not worry about, oh, I would look bad or stuff like that. If someone is genuinely doing something good, wearing something good, or in any way they have something that I admire, I would compliment them. Why not? Another thing about asking for and providing help is, as I said, I do not assume negative of people. So when I am genuinely stuck somewhere, I do not hesitate to ask for help. Same goes for helping someone out. There have been a lot of instances when people were doing something like a random situation in washroom. Let's say some tap was running and it was not being closed, and people will not ask for help because, I don't know, they are embarrassed or something. And I would go, and if I know the answer, I would go and help them. Or sometimes I would just ask, do you need something? Do you need help? And guess what? That's what they wanted. That's what they were waiting for. They could not ask for whatever reason, and they were hoping that someone could ask them if they could get some help. And that's what I did. So it worked. I listen. You know, most people have trouble listening. I have felt this so many times because I am most of the time on listening end when I'm having the first conversation with someone, as in the small talk or someone I don't know much about. One is, I don't really like to talk about myself if I don't know the other person. I would not like to reveal things about myself. That is one. And another is I like listening. I like knowing. I like to know more about you before I tell something to you about myself. So that is another reason. But people really like to talk about themselves. And trust me, you have a lot to learn from other people. Like there could be things that you could have never thought about. I pay attention to their body language and emotions. Now, I do not have much knowledge about what kind of body language means what, but I think I'm good at reading people's faces. As in, when I'm talking about something and I feel that the other person is not interested in that conversation, I would immediately drop that, because as someone who is a highly sensitive person as well, I feel like it's my duty to make sure that the other person is comfortable. So I am always making sure that that person is comfortable and feeling safe and is happy as well. So this is what makes the conversation more comfortable for the other person. And I drive the conversation based on what the other person wants. And most of the time I've seen I am the one driving the conversation. I don't know why that happens. I should probably analyze that as well. But when I am driving this conversation, I want to drive it in a direction that the other person likes it. Like you could tell from their face and the way they answer if they want to talk about a certain topic or not. If the topic is interesting to them, if they want to talk more about it. And one last thing is, I do not put any expectations out of this conversation. As in, I have naturally been doing that. If I add one more person in my life, I will have to take care of that person as well. As per my hypersensitivity, I would feel that it's my duty to make sure that this person is happy, healthy, smart, successful, everything. So I do not want to add more people in my life. So due to this, I generally leave these conversations open-ended. As in, once we're done with whatever we're talking about, I'll be like, okay, bye, goodbye. So this way, I think this is my observation, that the other person does not feel that I approached them, in case I did, with any ill intention. I did not approach them with the purpose of gaining something out of it, and they feel safe, and they're the ones most of the time approaching me, which is not something I wanted, but it happens all the time. And I think I missed one very important thing here. When I am talking to them, I generally am not talking about weather, or how's your work going, or how is your team, or how's your family. I am generally talking about things deeper than that, things more important than that, things that is genuinely interesting to me and I believe is for everyone else. And this is out of all selfish desires of not having to talk about how the weather is. That was all for this video. I hope you will find it easy to approach people and have meaningful conversations, and hopefully find friends and make a lot of beautiful memories.